A true long-range trawler is not just a slow motor yacht. It is built for distance, efficiency, comfort, and for confidence when the next marina is far away. The best long-range trawlers yachts usually have a few things in common: efficient diesel power, good fuel capacity, protected decks, comfortable living space, strong build quality, and a layout that makes life on board feel realistic. In this video, we are looking at 7 long-range trawler yachts that serious cruisers often consider. Some of these boats are expensive, some are more realistic on the used market, but all of them show what makes a proper cruising trawler so appealing. And remember this, before buying any used boat, always get a proper marine survey. At number 7, we have the Mainship 390 and Mainship 400 trawler. This is one of the more realistic choices for many used boat buyers who want the trawler lifestyle without jumping into the very high-end expedition yacht market. The Mainship is not a full ocean crossing trawler like a Nordhavn, but that is not really the point. For coastal cruising, the great loop, island hopping, and comfortable liveaboard use, it makes a lot of sense. What makes the Mainship attractive is the balance. You get a practical size, good fuel efficiency at slower speeds, a comfortable salon, a usable galley, and a layout that works well up for a couple. It is also easier to understand and easier to manage than many larger long-range yachts. Docking, maintenance, fuel burn, and ownership costs can all be more realistic. The flybridge gives good visibility, the interior has enough space for longer trips, and the boat is popular enough that buyers can compare multiple used examples. The main thing to remember is that this is more for a coastal long-range cruiser than a blue water expedition yacht. But for many people, that is exactly what they need. If your dream is long, slow cruising without buying a massive boat, the Mainship 390 or 400 is one of the first used trawlers I would look at. At number 6, we have the American Tug 435. American Tug builds boats that feel serious without being unnecessarily complicated. The 435 is a strong choice for owners who want a capable cruising boat with a practical layout and a solid workboat-inspired feel. This is the kind of trawler that makes sense for a couple who want to cruise in comfort but still want the boat to feel manageable. One of the biggest advantages of American Tug is the design philosophy. These boats are built for real cruising. You get good visibility from the pilot house, protected interior spaces, practical side decks, and a layout that works underway as well as the onshore. The 435 gives you more space than the smaller American Tug models, but it still keeps that practical trawler character. It is not trying to be a floating palace. It is trying to be a comfortable, dependable cruising machine. For long-range coastal cruising, the Pacific Northwest, the Great Loop, or extended trips where comfort and confidence matter, this is a very strong choice. The downside is price. American tugs hold their value well, so even used examples are usually not cheap. But if the budget allows, this is one of those boats that feels like it was designed by people who actually understand cruising. At number 5, we have the DeFever 44. If you like classic long-range trawlers, the DeFever 44 is hard to ignore. This boat has the shape, the volume, and the cruising personality that many people imagine when they think about living aboard and traveling slowly over distance. The DeFever 44 is known for comfortable interior space, wide beam, good cruising comfort, and a layout that can work very well for extended cruising. For a couple, it gives you room to live, room to store gear, and enough separation inside the boat to make longer trips more comfortable. It is also a boat with a lot of character. It does not feel like a modern production cruiser. It feels like an old-school cruising trawler built around comfort, range, and time aboard. The important things with a DeFever is condition. Many of these boats are older now. That means you need to look closely at fuel tanks, decks, windows, electrical systems, plumbing, engine room condition, and any signs of neglected maintenance. A good DeFever can be wonderful long-range cruising boat. A neglected one can become a very expensive project. But if you find a well-kept example, the DeFever 44 is one of the most appealing classic trawlers for owners who want serious cruising comfort without going into super yacht money. At number 4, we have the Kadey-Krogen 42. This is where the list starts to move into a true long-range trawler territory. Kadey-Krogen has a very strong reputation among serious cruising people, and the 42 is one of the classic models that helped build that reputation. What makes the Kadey-Krogen 42 special? It is full displacement decision, efficient cruising speed, comfortable motion, and strong focus on long-distance travel. This is not a boat for people who want to go fast. It is for people who understand that range, comfort, and seaworthiness matter more than speed. Krogen 42 has a proper cruising layout. You get a good living space, a protected pilot house, safe movement around the boat, and the kind of systems and storage that make longer trips more realistic. For a couple planning extended cruising, that is a serious boat. It is also one of those models where the design has aged well. Even older examples still attract attention because the basic formula is so strong. The downside is price and availability. Good Kadey-Krogens are not cheap, and owners often know exactly what they have. But if you want a true long-range trawlers with a proven reputation, the Kadey-Krogen 42 absolutely belongs on the list. At number 3, we have the Selene 43 and Selene 47. Selene trawlers are popular with buyers who want a serious long-range cruising yacht with a more modern feel. Compared with some older classic trawlers, a Selene can feel more refined, more substantial, and more expedition-oriented. The design gives you a strong hull shape, good interior volume, a proper pilot house, and the kind of layout that makes long-distance cruising feel organized and comfortable. The Selene 43 is a very interesting size. It is large enough to feel like a real passage maker, but not so large that it becomes impossible for a couple to manage. The Selene 47 gives you more space, more presence, and more capability. But it also brings higher ownership costs. What I like about these boats is that they feel purpose-built. They're not just motor yachts with a shallow look. They are designed around the idea of serious cruising. You get the pilot house, the storage, the systems, the engine room access, and the overall feel of boat mean to travel. Of course, that also means maintenance matters. A Selene can have complex systems, and larger systems mean larger bills. But for buyers who want a long-range trawler that feels modern, capable, and serious, the Selene 43 or 47 is one of the best names to consider. At number 2, we have the Nordhavn 46. For many people, Nordhavn is the name that defines long-range trawler yachts. The Nordhavn 46 is especially important because it helped prove that a smaller full-displacement trawler could be a serious passage maker. This is not just a comfortable coastal cruiser. This is a boat built around the idea of crossing oceans at displacement speed. The Nordhavn 46 has the look and feel of a true expedition yacht, a high bow, a strong hull, a protected pilot house, heavy-duty systems, and a layout designed for passage making. It is slow, but that is the point. The focus is range, safety, redundancy, and the ability to keep going when conditions are not perfect. For buyers who dream about serious offshore cruising, the Nordhavn 46 is one of the most respected choices in this size range. But it is not for everyone. The boat is heavy, complex, and expensive to buy and maintain. It requires a serious owner, not someone who simply wants a weekend cruiser with a trawler look. This is a boat for people who understand the commitment of long-range passage making. Still, if the question is, what are the best look range trawler yachts, then Nordhavn 46 has to be near the top. And at number 1, we have the Kadey-Krogen 44 and 48. And if you are looking at the 48, the 48 AE version is especially interesting. AE stands for Advanced Ergonomics, and that means a more refined layout, better movements around the boat, improved pilot house access, and practical details for long periods aboard. And the 48AE adds even more practical refinement for owners who plan to spend serious times on board. This is my top pick because Kadey-Krogen represents the kind of long-range trawler that many cruising couples actually dream about. These boats are not about speed, they're about comfort, range, stability, and confidence. The Krogen 44 and 48 built on the classic Kadey-Krogen formula. Full displacement hulls, efficient cruising, comfortable interiors, safe decks, serious storage, and a layout that feels right for long period aboard. For a cruising couple, that matters. A long-range trawler is not just about how far it can go on fuel. It is also about how well you can live on it while you are going there. Can you cook comfortably? Can you rest properly? Or can you move safely around the deck? Maybe can you operate the boat from a protected helm? Can you carry the gear, the spares, the water, the fuel, and the supplies needed for real cruising? That is where Kadey-Krogen does very well. The 44 is a beautiful balance of size and capability. The 48 gives you more volume, more comfort, and more long-distance presence. Both are serious boats for serious cruising, but they still feel like boats a couple could realistically live on and enjoy. They are not cheap, and good to use it examples usually hold value. But if I were making a dream shortlist of long-range trawler yachts for comfortable, serious cruising, Kadey-Krogen would be right at the top. So those are 7 of the best long-range trawler yachts for serious cruising. If you want something more realistic and coastal, the Mainship 390 or 400 is a smart place to start. If you want a classic liveaboard trawler, the DeFever 44 is hard to ignore. If you want true passage-making ability, Nordhavn is one of the strongest names in the world. And if you want a balance of comfort, range, and serious cruising design, Kadey-Krogen is my top pick. But remember, the best long-range trawler is not always the biggest or the most expensive one. It is the boat that matches your cruising plans, your budget, your maintenance ability, and your comfort level. Before buying any used boat, always get a proper marine survey. Inspect the engine room carefully, check the tanks, check the decks, check the electrical system, and make sure you understand the real cost of ownership. Which long-range trawler would you choose? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more used boat guides, subscribe to Trawler Compass.